The viral news story from a couple of weeks ago of the tragic passing of Adam Johnson, the ice hockey star over in Europe who got his throat slashed by an errant kick, has ended up coming around full circle as Matt Petgrave, the one with the errant blade, was welcomed back with a standing ovation. Oh my God, man. As somebody who follows sports very, very closely, you would think, okay, I don't even know why this guy's back on the ice, okay? Like, listen, there was an active investigation going on at the time, and normally I would just say let these guys play and let your investigations take as long as they need to, and if there's repercussions that come out of these investigations, you can go ahead and exact them then. But in a time when a woman can say literally anything and end a man's career, Trevor Bauer, you would anticipate somebody being placed on administrative leave, I don't know, just taking a personal break right now in order to just go ahead and refocus on the fact that you inadvertently killed somebody. You would think that there would be that type of grace period, but no. In under a month, within a couple weeks' time, old Kix McGillicuddy is back out on the ice, and even worse still, he gets a fucking standing ovation. Are you kidding me? 8,000 fans turned out, okay? Like, I have an analogous situation to this, okay? I think that it's a modern version. Obviously, nobody would have died or anything like that, but when I was growing up, okay, I can remember, it was probably around 2004, 2005 or something like that, the Todd Bertuzzi situation. If you were also watching hockey at the time, you're going to know exactly the situation I'm going to reference. Todd Bertuzzi ended up sucker punching Steve Moore, okay? It was a very hot rivalry going on at the time with Todd Bertuzzi's Vancouver Canucks and, the really good Joe Sakic era, Colorado Avalanche teams. I think they were both a part of the Pacific Division. The NHL has gone completely to shit, but Scott Moore wasn't necessarily all that talented, and the last time that I talked about this situation, I listed off a bunch of enforcers that were out there. It just goes to show you that violence is inherent to hockey, except for, when it comes to kicks. Those are generally discouraged, but Steve Moore, he was more of a third or fourth line pest. He performed a different type of activity. He would just go in and he would just play kind of cheesy, a more meddlesome game, and he was focusing in on probably the highest skilled player for the Canucks at the time, Marcus Naslund. He was laying in an earlier game earlier in the season. He was putting on some cheap shots. I think he actually took Marcus Naslund out of the previous game, so that Todd Bertuzzi probably about depends on where you wanted to put the Sedin twins at the time, okay? Because Vancouver, I hate Vancouver with every fiber of my being. The city and the team, but they had a fucking great team, okay? They had the Sedin twins, they had Marcus Naslund, Todd Bertuzzi, a couple of strong guys on defense. Oh fuck, the name is slipping me right now, but the goaltender was Dan Cloutier. Like, it was a fucking banger of a team. Didn't do anything in the playoffs, but, Vancouver's going to Vancouver at the end of the day. But Marcus Naslund was at the peak of his powers, and Scott Moore, trying to be a shit dick, took him out of the game, and Todd Bertuzzi, well, he kind of took that personally, so he skated up right behind Scott Moore and sucker punched him in the back of the head. Not exactly the smartest play, and at the end of the day, they both ended up collapsing on one another, and then it ended up being a bench-clearing brawl. One thing led to another. Scott Moore, is it Scott Moore or Steve Moore? Moore ended up getting his neck compressed, and I think the motherfucker ended up being paralyzed for a long time. So I say all that to say this. Todd Bertuzzi ended up getting a massive suspension. He was out for the rest of the year. He ended up either getting traded from the Canucks. He ended up landing with the Detroit Red Wings at the time when they were actually at their peak powers as well. But even when he came back, even from the home teams that he played on, whether it was Vancouver or in Detroit, he never quite got that same type of adulation. Okay, nobody was standing up going, that fucker, he deserved it. Okay, especially not that quickly. So I found that to be absolutely wild and definitely in bad taste. And I laid this out before. I don't think Matt Petgrave intended on killing Adam Johnson. I just think that he was totally reckless and deserves to be punished for what he did, which we do have a decent conclusion to that. But let's talk about the standing ovation, you bunch of creeps. Sheffield Steelers ice hockey star Matt Petgrave has been giving has been given a standing ovation by the fans of the Utila Arena, Sheffield, after he was involved in the deadly collision. Deadly collision? He was reckless with his skate and ended up clipping somebody in the neck. In the aftermath, when I released that video, I seen some other clips that were going around as well that Matt Petgrave kind of has a tendency to swing his limbs like he lost control of them, or like he's getting tasered on several other occasions back when he was in the juniors. Like, he's a violent player, inherently so. He led the league in, penalty minutes, different leagues, several different years. He's been kicked out of multiple games. He's what you would normally call, just by looking at the sheer stats, he would be an enforcer of such. Or maybe he's more of a pest. I'm not going to pretend to know his career or anything like that. All I can see is his actions taking place and going, yeah, he's probably liable for that. And you're telling me he's back on the ice. Interesting. Came as the Steelers returned to the ice for the first home game since Johnson tragically passed away after Petgrave's skate had fatally cut his opponent's neck. Oh, it's just a deadly collision, guys. Don't worry about that. During their Challenge Cup tie, Johnson had stood up following the collision, but blood began to profusely fall onto the ice, and then the 29-year-old collapsed, and he passed away. It was really fucking gross. In tribute to the Panthers player, more than 8,000 fans observed a moment of silence and a rapturous minute applause as players tapped their stick on the ice ahead of the Steelers' 2-1 win against Coventry Blaze on Sunday. It's just a whole bunch of fucking, Mandem shit right there, so those teams make no sense to me. Petgrave was not included in the Steelers squad to play on the night, but before the match, his picture appeared on the big screen inside the arena, with many fans rising to their feet to applaud the image of the defender. What the fuck, man? That's crazy. South Yorkshire Police have launched an investigation into the tragic and unprecedented death of Johnson, stating that due to the complex nature of the incident, a wider investigation will take some time. Police had referred to the incident as a freak accident. Yeah, but he's still liable for those actions, which we do have a conclusion on this. Adam Johnson, manslaughter arrest over ice hockey player's death. Look at the way that this is reported too. So I got the official. I'll go with the official reporting on this one. I got the BBC this time around. We can go ahead and enlarge this a little bit. Well, shout out the official outlet. Okay, it would sound a little gay if I were to say shout out, where it is. A man has been arrested on suspicion of manslaughter over the death of ice hockey player Adam Johnson. Who could you potentially be referring to? What the fuck, man? What's with these kid gloves? This dude was killed on ice, not on purpose. I would go ahead and submit you that, but what the fuck? The Nottingham Panthers player was hit in the neck by a skate during a match against the Sheffield Steelers on the 28th of October. The 29-year-old was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. A post-mortem examination confirmed he died as a result of a fatal neck injury. So yeah, there's legitimately only one person that can be held liable for this involuntary manslaughter charge. The force said detectives arrested the suspect on Tuesday, adding that he remained in custody. Oh, he's a he after all. Deputy Constable suspected Yo, man, did somebody just have a stroke on the keyboard? Beck's Horsefall. That's about the only thing I can make out from that. What the fuck are you doing? From South Yorkshire Police, are you serious? Is this the lesbian Nana who's also taking the reins on this? Said that they... We have been carrying out extensive inquiries to piece together the events which led to the loss of Adam and these unprecedented circumstances. We have been speaking to highly specialized experts in the field to assist in our inquiries and continue to work closely with the Health and Safety Department at Sheffield City Council, which is supporting our ongoing investigation. Adam's death has sent shockwaves throughout many communities, from our local residents here in Sheffield to ice hockey fans around the world. She urged the members of the public to refrain from comment and speculation which could hinder the investigation. No. We seen the clip. He clearly kicked him in the fucking throat. The death of Johnson. They still haven't named Matt Petgrave. Not at all whatsoever. Fucking Christ, bro. Sparked an outpouring of grief. Talking to KSTP-TV, the local news station based in Minnesota. Player's aunt, Carrie Johnson, said her nephew was planning to propose to his partner. Ryan Wolf. Better be a woman. We were all really excited because we knew Oh, we were really looking forward to their future. Yeah, that's fantastic. No mention of Petgrave in here at all whatsoever, unless I'm missing it or something like that. But I don't see that at all. Sports top division in the UK, Elite Ice Hockey League announced it would not enforce the use of neck guards, but would strongly encourage players to wear them. Well, that's good for right now. The incident has been described as a freak accident by the Panthers. Absolutely 100%, but no mention at all of the murderer. Oh, I'm sorry, alleged murderer, suspected murderer, but a murderer nonetheless. So you go ahead, you hide his name from the public, you give him a standing ovation. I don't ever want to hear any moralistic outpouring from any fucker over there, any mandem that's over there in the UK ever fucking again. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.